Hey foodies, it's kind of a dreary, gloomy kind of a Sunday, and I'm gonna make French onion soup. Am I making that kind? No. Now this Campbell stuff is great for cooking, and it is, but to eat on its own, no way. You want to make it from scratch. Also, I don't like caramelized onions, so I'm a weirdo. I don't like it on patty melts, burgers, steaks. So I'm using yellow onion and some white onion, and I cheated with my food processor. If you are going to be slicing onions yourself, wear contact lenses. That helps. Run it under cold water. Don't cut off the root, and get yourself a stainless steel soap bar to get the smell of onion off your hands. Or you could use a food processor. So I want 4 cups of the onion, and I'm using 4 cups of beef broth plus some water. And traditionally it's made with Swiss and Gruyere cheese. I'm making it with provolone, Swiss, and Gruyere. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. But you can use any cheese you want. Any white melting cheese, mozzarella. I love brick cheese, actually. Havarti, Monterey Jack. And we're using salt, pepper, thyme, a stick of butter. And my secret ingredient is actually garlic bread, not just plain French bread. So, and we're going to add a few more ingredients as we go. So keep on watching. I'm starting out with melting the stick of butter and adding some olive oil. That keeps the butter from browning too much. If you're watching your weight or you just aren't comfortable with that amount of butter, you can mostly use the olive oil, but of course it won't be as rich. And again, we are not caramelizing the onions. We are only going to saute them in the butter long enough to make them translucent for the most part, and flavor, like you can smell them once they start giving off their scent, then they're done. So we're not going to brown them. If you do want to caramelize them, it's going to take about 40 minutes, 45 minutes until they will be the deep, rich caramelization, releasing their sugars, but I don't like that, like I said. So I'm adding the beef broth, and I'm going to add an extra cup or 2 of water to bring it to about 40 ounces of broth, and some salt and pepper, and some thyme. Do you have time? I got time. It's Sunday, of course I got time. So I'm adding the dry sherry, which of course is optional. You don't have to, but I highly suggest you do. I'm adding 2 tablespoons, but this is a half a tablespoon spoon, so I'm mathing here. And now I'm just going to let it simmer or bring it up to a boil for 15 minutes, and then we're going to add some more stuff. Now I'm adding a bay leaf, some Worcestershire sauce, and I'm testing it for salt, and some garlic powder. Even though I'm using the garlic bread, I still want to add a little bit of garlic powder to the soup. And I did add a little bit more salt after I tasted it. And this is, I know it seems crazy because it's chicken and I'm using a beef broth, but use half a teaspoon of that. And if you make any type of Mexican cuisine, you need to have that in your kitchen. It is delicious, and it's a staple in a lot of Mexican foods. So now just put the bread in the bowl, and then I'm pouring the soup, obviously, over the bread. And you want to make sure that your bread is crunchy and toasted. It's already pre-baked. Even if you're just using regular French bread, you don't want it as hard as a crouton. I mean, if you have stale bread, that's okay, but you definitely don't want to put it in there like raw or really soft, because it'll completely fall apart. It's gonna get mushy, it's gonna get soft as it just like this, but you want to start out with it being kind of crunchy. So I'm using the provolone. JR does not want cheese on his soup. He's a weirdo. Okay, I shouldn't say that. We're all weird because I don't like caramelized onion, but I can't understand no cheese. And I'm just sprinkling a little paprika on top, and I put it underneath the broiler on high, and I just eyeballed it until it was how I wanted it. You can have it as brown or as raw. Those are my brownies cooling off. Oh, it is a good Sunday. I've got some pickles I'm making, homemade bread and butter pickles. Let me know if you guys want to see stuff like that too. And because those brownies were from scratch, that was not from a box. And look at that stringy, yummy, gooey, delicious cheese. Oh my goodness, this just hit the spot today. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's great, really.